When I first walked into the Gallup offices, I noticed something strange. On almost every desk, there was a bucket, and inside those buckets were dozens of colorful paper water drops. Each one had a handwritten note from a colleague, a thank you, or a great job on that project, or I saw how you handled that interview. I soon realized this wasn't just office decor. It was a living representation of a powerful psychological concept, the dipper in the bucket. Each of us has an invisible bucket. It is constantly emptied or filled, depending on what others say or do to us. When our bucket is full, we are at our best. When it is empty, we feel the weight of the world. We also have an invisible dipper. In every interaction, we can use our dipper to either fill or dip from another's bucket. When we choose to fill another person's bucket by recognizing their unique gifts or showing genuine gratitude, we don't just help them. We discover that we too feel more fulfilled. To fill a bucket is to acknowledge the humanity in the person standing right in front of you. This story comes from the late Dr. Don Clifton, the father of strength psychology, who theorized that we all have an invisible bucket. It's filled by positive interactions and emptied by negative ones. When our bucket is full, we feel optimistic and energized. When it's empty, we feel drained. We also have an invisible dipper. When we use that dipper to fill other people's buckets by saying or doing things to increase their positive emotions, we actually fill our own buckets too. This isn't just fluff. If you look back at the Gallup Q12 engagement survey, one of the most critical questions is, in the last 7 days, have I received recognition or praise for doing good work? Why 7 days? Because recognition has a short shelf life. In the fast-paced environment of a community college, regular recognition drives student retention, staff morale, and overall institutional success. But we often get recognition paralysis because we think it has to be a plaque or a banquet. It doesn't. I want you to pause for a moment. Think about the best recognition you ever received. Why was it the best? For me, I think of a personal recommendation letter from Pat McBride. I think of a standing ovation at a community sports banquet in Big Springs, Nebraska. But most of all, I think of a friend who told me 2 years after the fact how much a leadership program I created and executed had changed the community. What made those moments stick? They weren't just good jobs. They followed four specific keys. There are four keys to effective recognition. Number one, the first key is timing. Recognition has a remarkably short half life. The longer you wait, the less power it carries. Too often, we save up our good jobs for the annual performance review or the end of semester banquet. But for a staff member who just spent 2 hours de escalating a tense situation with a student, a thank you 3 months later feels like an afterthought. It needs to happen close to the moment of excellence. This might mean pausing for 30 seconds in the hallway to tell someone you saw how they handled that interaction, or sending a quick email CC'd to your supervisor praising a team member's work while the project is still fresh. When you recognize early, you reinforce the behavior you want to see again. Second, it needs to be specific. The second key is specificity. We've all been in those meetings where a leader says, "Good job, everyone, great semester." While well intentioned, that kind of general praise often falls flat because it doesn't feel earned. Powerful recognition identifies the specific action, the unique achievement, or the exact strength you saw in motion. Instead of saying, "Thanks for the help," try saying, "I noticed how you organized that data. It made the committee's decisions so much easier." When you're specific, you're telling the person, "I'm not just being polite. I'm actually paying attention to the value you bring to this college." The third key, it needs to be personal. This is where we often get it wrong in academia. We tend to default to the all college day model where we hand out plaques on the stage. But my research and experience with teams show that nearly 90% of individuals actually prefer private recognition over public displays. For many of our 30-year veterans, a public ceremony can feel more like an ordeal than a reward. They might value a private paid for dinner with a handwritten card they can keep in their desk drawer much more than a trophy. This is why I always ask my team during their strengths interviews, how do you prefer to be recognized? When you tailor the delivery to the individual, the message lands. Fourth, it needs to be authentic. Your team has a very high BS meter. They know when you're just checking a box or following a mandate to improve morale. You have to mean it. The good news is that authenticity doesn't have a specific look. Some managers are creative and grand in their gestures, while others are short, sweet, and understated. You don't have to change your personality to give great recognition. You just have to be sincere and notice the good work being done. Whether it's a post-it note or a formal letter, If it comes from a place of genuine appreciation for who they are and what they do, it'll fill their bucket. Take some time and go through the worksheet following the video. It'll help you think about the best recognition you received. It will also help you work through ideas that you can use to give your team recognition in the future. Recognition isn't about the award, it's about being seen. My challenge to you today: don't wait. Find one person, find one specific thing, and fill a bucket. You'll be surprised how much it fills yours too.